Go ahead and get started, and hopefully she will catch up with us. So I call to order the November 14th, 2025 meeting of the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board. The time is 9 a.m. Mr. Luna, would you mind leading us in the pledges?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we butchered that one pretty good. Okay, on to agenda item number 2, discussion and possible action to excuse board member absences, if any. We are aware that Ms. Castillo Escalante will not be here today. She is about to have a baby and needs to be close to home. So we certainly understand that. Ms. Robinson is not here. Maybe somebody could check to see if she's on her way. So I will entertain a motion for excused absences.
Chair, I would move that we accept the absences as described.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 3, opening remarks from the chair and board mission statement. Well, I just want to say that yesterday we had a good workshop, which I think was helpful in kind of understanding some of the challenges that our industry faces and understanding exactly the role of this board and the agency. And we look forward to serving. I don't really think that we need to go beyond that.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4, public comments. Any public comments? Okay, then on to agenda item number 5, ratification of the official record of the August 8, 2025 board meeting as approved for posting on the website by the secretary of the board. And I will entertain a motion if somebody wishes to propose ratification of the meeting minutes.
Chair Bolton, I move that the board ratify the minutes of the August 8th, 2025 board meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we turn to agenda item 6, final orders and surrenders. And all of these are in the meeting materials. If anybody has any questions or comments, that would be appropriate to do so now. Okay, if not, then we will turn to committee reports. I don't know that there's anything from executive that we really need to highlight, but beyond what's in the record in the meeting materials. So next we'll turn to education and licensing.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and board members. Paralleling you, our committee met at Tuesday on October 14th. It's all lined out in the topics of discussion in the material provided, and staff will be later on agendas item 13, 14, and 16, opening those rules up to you all for your consideration and approval.
Okay, that's all we have for committee reports. I think we've decided to take agenda item 19 next, and so for the Pearson View presentation. And so you don't have to sit through all of this.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I do have a presentation put up, and we are thrilled to continue to be the Appraiser exam partner. So a couple things about the Appraiser Qualification Board. That is who develops these exams, and we administer them on behalf of AQB and on behalf of Texas. The exams are developed by another vendor, not Pearson VUE, though we are the vendor that does offer that testing and the exam features. We have the content outlines from AQB, and those are posted in the candidate handbook and are put forth so that people can correctly prepare for the exams. We also have sample questions in that handbook. And I do want to point out that the sample questions are developed by the vendor for AQB, and we are happy to publish those and make it as easy as possible for the candidates to prepare. They are encouraged to follow or to review the content outlines to help themselves prepare for the exam, and we will touch back on this. If an individual is not passing that exam, the candidate handbook and the content outlines are important because as they leave the exam, and if they do not pass, it gives them an idea of what areas of that content outline they need to focus on and where they've done very well. Maybe switch. And this is the candidate handbook. So each program has a unique candidate handbook that walks through all of the details. It talks about the exam fees, what the process is like for an examinee, the full candidate experience. It prepares everyone for this exam, if there's anything that they need to do in preparation for that. And those are always available on our website. Any updates are made right away, and this one is from April 2024. I will double check and see if that is the most recent, but generally we will update them every year or 2 years, especially if there is any change to the content outline or processes and procedures as candidates sit for that exam. Jump in. And this is my map. I love this map so much. Everybody that knows me knows I love this map. So we have a beautiful spread of Pearson professional centers where individuals can go and take that exam within the Pearson centers. We have 29 throughout the state of Texas. And then we also have partner sites. And this is third-party exam locations, such as colleges and universities, testing facilities, et cetera, that meet the Pearson standard for security and for testing. So we also have 4 military sites within the state of Texas that we're very proud of. So you have quite a nice map. People don't need to travel very far. And I do want to point out, we have a location in Alpine that we had a spot in Alpine area that wasn't necessarily easy to get to. Anyone from that area had to do some driving. So we worked with the commission and we worked with Trek to make Alpine a location for testing. So that's always on the table, and we can expand if needed. Maybe jump forward. These are the top 10. These are the locations that are most frequently used for the examinees or candidates for the appraiser exams. I would like to point out that these are all third-party locations. So while our 29 Pearson Professional Centers may be a record in any state that we have, these are the most utilized. So these are the locations that are easiest and most convenient for the candidates. And so we are very proud to have, I think it was 169 of those throughout the state. And this talks a little bit about the scheduling and delivery. So an individual has 2 options to sit for the exam and do registration. They can either go online and go through the registration process themselves, set up their exam time, location, or they can call. And I do want to point out that if they do call customer service, the customer service and the candidate are viewing the same options, the same locations, and the same times. So there isn't a benefit necessarily to calling to schedule that exam, other than giving the individual some confidence and helping them if they hit any snags in the process. All of the confirmation, cancellation, any updates for that exam are sent directly to the email that the individual has provided when they register. And for security purposes, we have 2 forms of ID that are required on site. The first one is a primary ID and must have the photo, and the second one has a matching signature. They will leave the test center with scores in hand. So as an individual sitting for this, I think it is pretty universal that anyone that's sitting for an exam wants to know immediately how they did. And so that is something that we do. And this is part of the business rules that you've decided. So an individual, before they leave the testing center, either has their pass and a sheet that gives them, and I'll show you that on the next slide, that gives them their congratulations, next steps, etc. If they do not pass, they are also leaving with a sheet that harkens back to that content outline. Where can you focus moving forward? How can you be successful in your next attempt? All exams are $55, and that is across the board on this, and for all candidates, regardless of where they test, if it's a Pearson professional site or a third party. Have you jump ahead? And this is what they walk out of, or walk out of the testing center with. On the left, you'll see a successful exam report. On the right, you'll see a non-successful report and the breakdown that follows that content outline so that they can ideally be successful in the future. Are there any questions that I can answer?
I don't think so. Thank you so much.
Wow, okay. Great to see you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like the record to reflect that Dr. Robinson is with us now.
Thank you
And
for
we're
calling me out. Jan.
Happy that you are here.
I'm just teasing. My apologies for being late.
No. Okay, let's move on to agenda item 10, staff reports on agency operations, initiatives, and statistical data.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to be with you guys. Thank you for your time yesterday at the workshop. It was nice to be together in a little bit of a less formal environment and just kind of have some time together. So that's that. And of course, thanks to Carrie Dahl from Pearson VUE for providing that update on our exam administration process for applicants in Texas. I love the information she shares and that map of all the location sites especially, and I appreciate our relationship with Pearson VUE. In your materials, you have staff reports starting on page 49. And these reports include year-end data, and that's because our fiscal year ended at the end of August, so now we have that whole year look back. The reports staff provide to you, those whole year look backs and otherwise, are prepared just for your benefit. And I think it is a tremendous look at the work that we do, good, bad, and ugly. And it also is a really good place for you to look to see what our successes are and also what our vulnerabilities are for your own work as a governing body. A few items I want to mention beyond the reports, just updates for you related to the industry. One is the ASC audit. This is the audit that we do every other year. 3 managers from the ASC come on site and review our work, ask questions. It feels somewhat stressful, but the board has done an exceptional job at receiving excellent ratings in both the Appraiser and the AMC programs. Really proud of our staff for this work. Our next audit is scheduled for September of 2026, and so we will begin preparing for that over the summer. That's a little bit later than typical, but we're not going to do any complaining about that. That's a good thing. Also, there's some new training that will begin in January. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but the Valuation Bias and Fair Housing course. We have begun implementing this course requirement beginning in January of 2026, so just a few months from now. All appraisers will be required to take this course. We've done extensive outreach, including recurring targeted messages and website updates. License holders should be well informed. They may be surprised, but they should not be surprised. AQB exposure drafts. We also mentioned this yesterday, but just for the record, I wanted to make sure we mention that the Appraiser Qualifications Board released an exposure draft recently to propose 3 changes for the criteria. Director Melissa Tran sent you details in an email that outlines those items. All comments need to be submitted by November 28th. However, after our review, we do not see any need for comment. But should you wish to submit a comment or talk that through, let me know and we can have that conversation. A few more global updates for you that I just wanted you to be aware of. First, I have to brag on our staff. And this is TREC and TALCB staff. We've just concluded the State Employee Charitable Campaign, and this is a statewide effort for all state agencies to raise funds for local charities. There's a long list of charities you can choose from. But between TREC and TALCB, we raised close to $17,000, with 84% of our workforce participating in the campaign. And of course, this is coming when inflation and expenses are high, funding is tight, and people feel squeezed. So with that in mind, I am extraordinarily proud of the generosity of so many on our team to be able to participate in that campaign. Our staff is not only generous, but they are also working extremely hard. Never has this been more obvious than as we roll out the Real Estate and Appraiser License Management Portal. We're calling that the Realm Portal. This is launching December 10th, and this is our new license management system. It's our one-stop tool for license holders that will allow them to manage their accounts online, and as well as it will be our back-end system that will track payments and data and documents and almost every other piece of information that we use at TREC and TALCB. There will be many more online processes than we've seen before, and it should make doing business with us much, much easier. Much like a home remodel, this project has had some surprises. It has had some delays. There have been times when we felt like we were treading water, but the good news is that the end is in sight. But what does it mean for our license holders? It means, first, that starting on December 2nd at 5 p.m. until the morning of December 10th, license holders will not be able to access or log in to our current license management tool. That's our Versa system. We will still be open for business, and the website will still be available. But the license holder search function and information that ties to someone's license will basically be on pause or kind of in a static state from the end of December 2nd until we go live on the 10th. There won't be any activity going on in a license holder profile, so nothing will change in our database, but it will not be accessible as well. Staff will not have access to that, and we will not enter any data into that old system during that time. License holders will receive an email in our current system inviting them to register for the Realm portal. And we have done a lot of communications to watch for that email, but that will come in that window between December 2nd and 10th.
Chelsea, will the credentials to sign in to the new website be the same as the old, or is it a re-registration?
That's a very timely question. It should be your email connected to your account online. There are a few variables there, and I bet we've spent 10 hours in meetings talking about this, with a few details still remaining, but we should be able to use your email. Okay. If license holders are due to renew this month, our advice is to do so early, and absolutely before December 2nd. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until after December 10th, at which time you will be late. I owe significant thanks to our license holders for their interest in our new system, their excitement, also their patience, and for their diligence, future diligence in learning how to use it. New things are never fun, but on the whole, our license holders have anticipation about this, and I'm excited that they're excited. Also, internally, this has been a long, hard, laborious process, and that labor continues. Our staff have rescheduled vacations. We have many who have not taken a single day off in weeks or months. They are working the weekends. They are not taking time off this Thanksgiving or Christmas. I have never in my career asked more of a group of people than I am asking of them now. And I am so proud of all of the ways in which they've risen to the occasion on that. It's not over, really. In fact, we're moving into the very hardest part of the marathon of that implementation. I can see it. I can see it in their eyes of just kind of the stress and weight. So, but never have I seen a more diligent set of people working on something. Tom Watson has led this charge, our IT director, and I am grateful for his immense efforts. Summer Mandel is leading our robust and very proactive communication effort to ensure that there are no surprises by our license holders. Happy to answer any questions on Realm or anything else I've mentioned.
I'm sorry. Let's see, am I on? I think I'm on. Right? Okay.
You just have to get close to it.
Okay. Thank you for that, and congratulations to the team. I know we have the best team ever, so thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention of how hard they've worked, because they certainly have. Couple questions on, so as far as Realm is concerned, when we're off line from the 2nd through the 10th, what type of communication plan do we have in place prior to that to make sure the appraisers are aware of that online status or offline status?
It's multifaceted, but we are we're announcing that on social media. Okay. We also have a newsletter that people can sign up for to get information about Realm. Mm-hmm. That same information will be shared elsewhere, but for people who are particularly interested, we have a drip campaign that will slowly kind of drip that information out to our license holders. We're posting things on our website. We are also including in our renewal notices. We're sending those notices early and then including that warning in those notices.
Okay, so as we market the Realm, we're also communicating the offline piece as well.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. And then you mentioned that if people need to renew this month, they need to do so early. How many people are we talking about, and has that group been notified and encouraged to renew early? And then the second question to that is, if they miss the deadline, do we have any leniency for just that group, if in the event, so they don't have to pay late fees or anything like that?
Yes, no.
So efficient, right?
I love the efficiency.
I'll give more. They have been notified.
Okay.
I'm doing quick math. I don't have a specific number. So for November renewals, our total license count is 6,500. So if you divide that by 12, we're talking about probably 500 people.
Okay.
Many do renew early. One benefit that we have is that Realm is not going live between a month end and month beginning. Mm-hmm. So a renewal is due at the end of the month.
Gotcha. So they should have it in early anyway.
They should.
Okay, or not early, but they should have it in by that deadline anyway.
Correct. Okay. So that leniency is really no different than it is in our old system.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because there shouldn't be a difference in timing. We will be dark we will transition from end of day on the 2nd through the 10th, but no renewals will be due within that time frame.
Gotcha. Okay, so for the December renewals, will they be affected?
They will just not be able to renew online between the 2nd and 10th, but they will have the remainder of the month to do so.
Okay.
They also could renew today if they wanted to.
Okay.
They don't have to do it in their renewal month. They have all of the months ahead to do it.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for that. And congratulations on the charity donation. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You mentioned earlier about the bias and training courses. That is still a requirement, and outreach is continuing to go out to notify our appraisers. I know with recent changes in legislation as far as DEI and that sort of thing, do we anticipate that dropping off? Do we anticipate that becoming a conversation or an issue we need to address in the state of Texas related to DEI? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, our state statute still has some fair housing requirements. those are satisfied by this federal requirement. We're obligated to follow this federal requirement, and have not heard any indication that we're not hearing any indication that we're going away. We're hearing the opposite, that is beginning of January 2026. So we will watch that carefully. Of course, that those decisions were made under the prior federal administration, but the current administration has not paused it.
Yes, they've given us the green light to continue on in the state of Texas. Okay, that's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Question.
Yes, sir.
I attended a meeting, and I believe I saw Tom here. I know the Facilities Commission is going to be shutting this building down numerous times,
Yes.
completely. And so are y'all sending out, I mean, will that affect license holders' access like over a weekend when they shut it down?
Yes, in fact, tomorrow is
Yes.
one of those shutdowns.
Yes.
And so for much of tomorrow, the building power will be off, which means that our website will be down. We have basically done our normal notifications. We put that on social media. We put it on our website to just make sure people know that it won't be available for much of tomorrow. When it is down, there will be something on our website that just says this is closed because of a power outage. This should come back.
It'll be a message, okay. Yeah,
Correct.
a banner.
We also, in the meeting that you were in, I believe there was some sort of announcement of a potential power outage in December.
Yes.
And we are stomping our feet to make sure that does not happen.
Well, that's what my follow-up was going to be, because you were talking about launching Realm in December, and I'm like,
We
ooh,
can't
it's
have a
gonna
power outage. We need,
Yeah.
we need the wind at our back in terms of power.
Yes. Yes. Well, and I'm not saying this is for for TALCB, but our IT representative says it takes 3 hours to take it down and 6 hours to get it back up. And
Correct.
so there's a lot of time involved besides just flipping a switch.
That's right. Well, and our IT staff is working very hard on this Realm portal, and it's a little bit of a kick while they're down to say, okay, now this Saturday, in addition to all these other things you're doing, if you could just bring down all of our systems, then bring them back up. But
Great. Thank you.
All the systems are hosted here. There's no chance for some offsite hosting?
That's such a good question. We're in the process of moving to the cloud, but our website servers are not fully in the cloud to allow for them to be functional when power's off. But the goal, short-term goal, is for our website not to be affected by power of this building.
That is a great point for contingency purposes. If we have a way to put it in the cloud, that would be great.
Yeah, that's surprising that it's hosted here, honestly.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Welcome to state government.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's universal.
As we speak of, I thought the thing went down. I was like, as we speak.
Chelsea, I'd like to just thank you you have been very transparent about this whole process to us, particularly to me, as far as what's going right, what's challenging, and, successes, overcoming those challenges. And so I really appreciate that because it's such a large capital investment for both Trek and TALCB.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And in full transparency, this transition will happen, and December 10th will happen, and we will move to Realm. I expect glitches along the way, and as we march, every day matters between now and then, and we're whittling away at our challenges, but they're not gone. So
Well, we support you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks to each of you.
Is there any way we can get a demo of Realm before it goes live as the board? Is that possible?
I can show you a PowerPoint. I can show you slides of what it might look like. I mean, what it will look like, not might. I think it would be better for you to see it in action after it goes live, and so we can make that happen. Right now, we're in sandboxes and in test environments, and we can kind of make it happen. But I think it would be more fun to show you the real thing.
That sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you. And thank you for all your hard work.
Okay, let's move on. Our next agenda item is for executive session. However, we don't have any reasons that I'm aware to go to that. So let's move on to rules for possible adoption. Agenda item 12, discussion and possible action to adopt amendments to 22, the Texas Administrative Code 153.19, licensing for persons with criminal history and fitness determination.
All right, good morning. Good morning, Chair Bolton, board members. Good to see you again 2 days in a row. Before you are the rules for possible adoption. These are rules that you saw last meeting and voted to propose for proposal, and now they're coming back after an opportunity for public comment, and they're before you to potentially adopt. So the proposed amendments before you are made as a result of statutory changes enacted by the 89th Legislature in SB 1080 that became effective on May 27th. What SB 1080 did, it modified several provisions of Chapter 53 of the Occupations Code that relate to the revocation of occupational licenses from certain license holders and the issuance of these licenses with those with criminal convictions. Additionally, the proposed changes are made as a result of our licensing management system project, the Realm Portal, and users will be able to provide information to the agency using an online process rather than using paper forms. We did not receive any comments on these, so staff's recommendations is to authorize staff on behalf of the board to submit for adoption amendments to 22 Texas Administrative Code Section 153.19 as published, along with any technical or non-substantive changes as required for adoption. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Any questions for Ms. Santos on this proposed rule? I would hear a motion.
I move that the board approves the staff's recommendation.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Go to agenda item 13, discussion and possible action to adopt amendments to 22 Texas Administrative Code as follows.
Okay, for section 153.1 definitions and section 153.15 experience required for licensing. So the rules in this item are related also to the rules in the next item, and they all both relate to the establishment of an approval process for practicum programs. The specific amendments before you in 153.1 and 1.5, we add a definition for practicum courses, and then we also specify that this is a type of experience that may be accepted to satisfy the experience requirement under Chapter 1103. We did receive one comment, and it was just generally in support of a practicum to accept practicums in general. No recommendations are made to the change in the language as a result of the comment. So staff's recommendations is to authorize staff on behalf of the board to submit for adoption amendments to 22 Texas Administrative Code Sections 153.1 and 153.15 as published, along with any technical or non-substantive changes as required for adoption. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item 14, discussion of possible action to adopt new rules. I guess it's the same, it's essentially the same to 22 Texas Administrative Code as follows.
Yes, so these, as I mentioned earlier, these are related to the other rules we just went through, all relate to establishing that a practicum, the process for approving a practicum program. The last set of rules, we were amending existing rules. These are new rules. They outline a process for approving providers, approving courses, and outline their specific requirements and course requirements. In 153.43, we have the process for ensuring compliance, complaint process, prohibitive activity, and disciplinary actions. And for some additional context, these two rules are modeled after existing rules related to education providers, so it shouldn't really be anything new. We did receive one comment, which is the same comment I mentioned in the previous item, just generally in support of accepting this as a form of approval process to accept it as a form of experience. Staff's recommendation is to authorize staff on behalf of the board to submit for adoption new rules 22 Texas Administrative Code sections 153.42 and 153.43 as published, along with any technical or non-substantive changes as required for adoption. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? I would hear a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 15, discussion of possible action to adopt amendments to 153.6, military service member, military veteran, or military spouse applications.
Okay, we have another rule where we're implementing some recent legislative changes. Those were in HB 5629 and SB 1818 that went into effect in September. These bills modify Chapter 55 of the occupations codes that relate to occupational licensing for those in the military, military veterans, and military spouses. A lot of the amendments focused on reciprocity or allowing folks to practice here on the basis of licensed elsewhere. We already have a reciprocity built into our scheme, our regulatory scheme. So what we're doing is implementing these statutes, and it's coming alongside our existing process. We did not receive any comments, and staff's recommendations is to authorize staff on behalf of this board to submit for adoption amendments to 22 Texas Administrative Code 153.6 as published, along with any technical or substantive changes required for adoption. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? I would hear a motion.
Chair, I move to accept the staff's recommendations.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now on to agenda item 16, discussion of possible action to propose amendments to 22 of the Texas Administrative Code as follows.
All right, so here, we're shifting gears a little bit. We're at proposing new rules. So if the board approves these for a proposal, they'll go out for public comment, and then in the February meeting, these would be up for approval before you all. So agenda item number 16, discussion and possible action to propose amendments to section 153.13, education required for licensing, 153.21, appraiser trainees and supervisory appraisers, and 153.40, approval of continuing education providers and courses. So the amendments before you, I think how you could describe it is we're clarifying, we're reducing barriers to entry, and we're just having our rules reflect our process more. Specifically, in 153.13, we're defining more specifically the courses that are acceptable by the board to satisfy the education requirement. In 153.21, we are clarifying sections related to the eligibility of a supervisory appraiser related to the appraiser trainee, supervisory appraiser courses. We're eliminating the requirement that this course be retaken by trainees and supervisory appraisers every 4 years. And then finally, in 153.40, we're clarifying requirements related to the duration of approval of a board approved of courses and also requirements for providers. Staff's recommendation is to authorize staff on behalf of this board to submit amendments to 22 Texas Administrative Code sections 153.13, 21, and 40 as presented for publication and public comment to the Texas Register, along with any technical or non-substantive changes as required for proposal. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Board have any questions?
I'm sorry. It could be because I haven't had enough coffee. I'm so sorry. Okay, walk me through this again, and can we talk about when it's implemented, how does it affect appraisers, the appraiser trainees? At what point would they be affected?
So it would be effective when the rule goes into effect, when those, if you're talking about the appraiser trainee course,
Yeah.
they would no longer be a requirement.
Okay, so whenever we approve it.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, when the rules go into effect, if someone were to, renew their license or become a supervisory appraiser or become a trainee, that's when it would go into effect, or it would apply for them. So if you're already a supervisory appraiser or a trainee, you would not have to take that course again.
Okay.
And that's something that Melissa and her team identified as this is not a course that changes very often.
Gotcha.
And so the value of time of having to take it again when it's not new, it doesn't change That was just the way that we identified that we could reduce barriers to
Oh,
entry.
okay, I got you. I'm sorry. I
And we
was
appraise-
just,
Thank you for identifying. this right.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this was our attempt to reduce barriers to entry by identifying courses that really were not needed, but that were on the books anyway for them to take.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. As the non-appraiser in the room, the community member. Thank you for explaining.
Any questions for Ms. Santos?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approves staff recommendations.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to agenda item 17, pending business report on Fall 2025 Association of Appraiser Regulatory Officials Conference.
All right, I'm going to chime in on this one. I know this is one where a rare one we didn't have a board member attend. I'm going to give some high points of my observations and everything at the conference. I myself attended along with Director Tran and was in Atlanta. I think one kind of stark noticeable difference is it was like not as heavily attended as other conferences. The ASC did not attend, and they sent a letter sort of explaining that this was due to their traveling restrictions. And I think a lot of other states also had similar traveling restrictions or limited budget to be able to attend the conference. But there was still very valuable for us attending, and we still were able to engage with a lot of other states. One of the things we're following closely, and Executive Director Buchholz touched on it, was like the ASC's compliance reviews. At least anecdotally, there was talks of like maybe there was a little bit of different direction they were taking because there has been a change of leadership there, and some of the staff have retired, and so that's something we're keeping tabs on. We do have like a priority contact call coming up in the next several weeks to touch base with them. So, we're always in favor of getting ahead of anything like that. I mentioned this yesterday in our training, but the ASB emphasized that they wouldn't be seeking to change USPAP anytime soon, but they would be looking to issue more guidance documents related to emerging technologies. Specifically, it would be something that would include addressing the use of AI in appraisal practice, so that's something to look forward to. But also, as I mentioned earlier, we've talked about they have that exposure draft process where they release it out and there's an opportunity for comment. And we'll make sure to keep you all aware when those things come up. And finally, I know there's always this idea of that imitation is the highest form of flattery. One thing I did learn was like Utah is implementing a mentorship program. And that was modeled after ours. They were very much in touch with Melissa and her team, and I did remember them approaching her specifically, thanking her for all her information on establishing a program in their state. So, but unless you have any questions, that's all the notes I had to report.
No, thank you for that report, and I would, particularly to the new board members, at least one time I would take the opportunity to go to one of these conferences. One of the highlights for board members is they have a board member specific meeting where you're talking with the other states about what issues they're dealing with. I remember when we went to the Nashville conference, we were talking about the complaints that have initiated by government organizations and how each state was dealing with the influx that was a greater volume of complaints than we were used to seeing. And that's just an example, but it is really valuable for the board members to spend time in these conferences.
That and also the testing rates that came up that, we were all able to talk about as boards from different states, how we were seeing the decline in the testing numbers. And so we can collectively do things about it, like the state of California did some digging and different things like that. So it really is valuable.
Do you have the date and
I believe the
Location
May in
for the
San
next
Diego, and it is
San Diego in the spring. I'm having trouble figuring out the exact day. Oh, April 25th through 30th is the hotel block, so it'll be a shorter time within that period. And then the fall conference is in Clearwater, Florida. And that, I'll have to, I'm going to have to send out that date.
okay? Good to know. Thank you.
Good locations.
San Diego.
All right, next agenda item is a team discussion of possible action action regarding nominations to create a slate of candidates for the offices of Vice Chair and Secretary of the Board. And we don't necessarily have to have nominations, but it's fine.
And most often, those are done on the day of, in February. This is more like a warning that it's coming and to think about it.
Okay, not hearing any nominations, we will move to agenda item 19. Oh, we already did that one. 20, discussion, possible action regarding agenda items for future meetings. Does anybody have any future meeting items that they would like to propose? Not hearing any, we'll move to 21, discussion of possible action to schedule future meeting dates. We have, our next meeting is set for February 20th. And we have tentative meeting dates of May 15th, 2026, August 7th, 2026, November 6th, 2026. Does anybody have any reasons that those dates don't work for them that they know of now?
2026.
Okay. Then we will go to our next agenda item, 22. The time is now 9:45 and we stand adjourned.
Wake up.
Thank you,
I
sir.
woke
You
up.
woke us up.
Oh, man.